Hey, brother! Ben, I'm just gonna say it. For the first couple of years at Hogwarts, Ron sucks at magic. Yes, he does defeat the mountain troll, I'll give him that, and for the whole second year his wand is broken, so maybe you could just blame his wand, and I would agree. But I think his wand being broken is only half of the problem. In the Deathly Hallows, Ron covets the Elder Wand above the other Hallows, and frankly, I don't blame him, because we've done some research and learned that Ron enters the wizarding world with basically the worst wand ever. Hey, brother! I cannot tell you how many times I've had conversations with people about the Deathly Hallows where they're like, why is Ron even there? What is he contributing? And frankly, it's hard to argue with them. He doesn't do a lot. Hermione covers all things magic. She's very useful. Harry has like a direct link into Voldemort's mind, and he's like the chosen one, so that's pretty useful. And then there's Ron, who's just like, I mean, well, he's very good at complaining about eating mushrooms. Although I have to say, I'm kind of on Ron's side here. I mean, it infuriates me whenever I read that chapter where Ted Tonks and Dean and them show up and they just like Osseo salmon out of the river. Like, duh, guys, why aren't you doing that the whole time? You don't have to be hungry. And really, it's Hermione's fault that Ron's complaining so much. I mean, she should have figured out way earlier that you have to give like Ron a cookie anytime he has a good idea.
It was Ron's idea, it's completely brilliant.
Sorry, it probably sounds like I'm making excuses for Ron, but I kind of feel bad for Ron because there is one giant, very credible excuse that could be made for him. And that is his wand, or at least his first wand, because the one he brings to Hogwarts in their first year is like the worst wand anyone could possibly have. For some perspective, Ron carries that wand through the first 2 books, and across all 7 books, you only get to see him cast 39 spells. 17 of those spells actually fail to work, but 7 of those failed spells happen in the first 2 books. And 4 of those almost shouldn't count. It happens in Order of the Phoenix when he's trying to silence a raven, which, I mean, come on. Ravens are loud, I think. I don't know much about birds. But that first wand is predictably a hand-me-down from his brother Charlie. It is made of ash and has a unicorn hair for the core. And while they don't really go into it in the books, if you do some digging on Pottermore, you can really begin to understand Ron's plight, as Ollivander goes into large detail about the relative attributes of every single wand, wood, and core that he uses. About unicorn hair, he says they produce the most consistent magic, are very loyal, and are difficult to turn to the dark arts, which, yeah, that sounds like Ron. But then he goes on to say that unicorn hair wands remain very faithful to their first owner, even if they were not a very good wizard. Not saying Charlie was a bad wizard, I think he's actually pretty good. So the fact that Ron was handed down a unicorn hair wand is already off to a bad start, but it gets even worse when you consider the wand wood ash. Word for word from Ollivander, the ash wand cleaves to its one true master and ought not to be passed on or gifted from the original owner because it will lose power and skill. This tendency is extreme if the core is of unicorn. So yeah, not only the worst core to inherit, but the worst wood and combination with that core to be passed down ever. It also makes me wonder, why would Charlie even pass it down? Because the combination sounds like it's fine if you're the first owner. And I think the answer to that may be factoring even further into Ron's plight, because unicorn hair, amongst the 3 cores that Ollivander uses, is the one that can wear out or even die and need replacing. So it's possible Charlie was like, huh, this wand is not working very well anymore, and it apparently works worse when I give it to someone else, but here you go anyway, Ron. And is it just me, or does Ron seem to be getting the continuous shaft on the hand-me-downs? I mean, Fred and George's dress robes don't stink, and Ginny seems to have a powerful working wand right out of the gate. Why does everything Ron have suck? But that being said, Ron does defeat the mountain troll as a first year with what, as far as I'm concerned, is more stick than wand. Well, the answer might actually lie in his replacement wand. From Prisoner of Azkaban onward, Ron's new wand is again unicorn hair, but this time willow instead of ash. Willow wands are much different than ash, and again, according to Ollivander, their ideal owner often has some usually unwarranted insecurity, however well they may try and hide it, and they often select those of greatest potential. Unwarranted insecurity. Man, that might be the greatest 2-word description of Ron ever. It really just sums up everything about Ron. I mean, he's the 6th brother in a magically talented family. His best friend is the most famous wizard of all time, and his other best friend is the most talented witch of their year. And he started his career in the wizarding world with the world's worst wand, and then broke it, and then kept using it for a year. It also probably didn't help that Harry and Hermione, on the other hand, started out with like the best wands ever. Hermione's is Vine Wood and Dragon Heartstring. Dragon typically produces the most powerful wands, and Vine chooses witches or wizards who seek a greater purpose, have a vision beyond the ordinary, and who frequently astound those who think they know them best. So yeah, Hermione was off to a pretty good start and pretty much lives up to that description. And Harry, well, you're probably much more familiar with Harry's wand, Holly and Phoenix Feather, which is apparently a pretty rare combination. Not only is it rare, but it's tricky to get right. But in the unusual event of that pairing finding its perfect match, nothing and nobody should stand in their way. Subtle, JK. Subtle. By the way, fun fact, J.K. Rowling actually used a Celtic calendar and the birthdays of the 3 characters to assign them their different wand woods as a hidden connection between the 3, and each of the 3 of them has one of the 3 cores used by Ollivander. So yeah, it is easy to see why Ron would have insecurities, but he goes on over and over to prove that it is unwarranted insecurity. Because Ron does have enormous potential and skill when he's not overthinking it. Again, let me repeat, he defeats a fully grown mountain troll as a first year with what is no more than barely magical firewood. And it's the same story for Ron on the Quidditch pitch and on the chessboard. Ron is great at keeper when he doesn't think about it, and terrible when he does. And as far as chess, Ron is basically unbeatable in the books, even by Hermione. This is because Ron never doubts his ability at chess. He always thinks he's good at it, and so always performs well when he plays and reveals his vast potential. Sadly, he can't carry that mindset over to his magic for quite some time. Ron's magic is stunted from the start, and as such, he is prone to getting in his own way, even though it's not his fault at all. The point is, it's kind of like his parents sent him to drill school with a screwdriver, or hammer school with a rock, or saw school with scissors, or why would you need to go to hammer school? The point is, the fact that he can produce any magic during his first 2 years is kind of astounding. I mean, just imagine if he'd had the right wand from the start. What if Ron was as good at magic out of the gate as he is at chess out of the gate? Like, I think that's what Ron was missing. And there you go then. That's why Ron appears to be behind the curve when it comes to magic. Everyone knows about his insecurities in other places, but for some reason, no one ever seems to connect that to his magical talents. But as far as I'm concerned, it is definitely not his fault. Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what is your wand, wood, and core? You can actually take a quiz on Pottermore to figure it out. Mine is unicorn hair and sycamore, which apparently means I'm curious, vital, and adventurous. But let me know what yours is and what that means about you in the towel section down below. These socks are amazing! Guys, thanks for watching. As always, please remember to like the video if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Harry Potter action from us. If you want to see just how curious, vital, and adventurous I am, I recommend going and checking out my new weekly vlog channel where you can follow the exploits of me and Ben and Derek and Luke and Beth, and it's a good, fun time. Or if you just want to know more about Ron, you can check out this video right here where we reveal how Dumbledore made his trusty Deluminator. But Ben, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.